Hello and welcome to our episode once again called Against All Odds. My name is Kim Sibanda. And of course, in this episode, as usual, we talk about the struggle. We talk about all the things that have happened when someone's life takes a devastating turn. Now, today's guest is no different. At just 13 years old, he was electrocuted and left with both arms ripped off, and his life changed forever. His name is Elisha Gumbo. His story is one of struggle. It's one of facing the community and what they had to say. But it has an amazing turn where today he stands a fully graduated lawyer at just 28 years old from the University of Zimbabwe and looks to further his education as well as his entrepreneurial journey. Today, I have Elisha. Elisha, how are you?
Fine, thanks, and how are you?
I'm glad to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Let's start from the start, Elisha. Tell me about you. Who is Elisha? Where did he grow up? And how did all this come to happen to you?
Mostly my father was, what can I say, an entrepreneur. So he would move from town to town. So basically, I grew up between Kadoma and Bloe because he was into hardwood timber. He would harvest timber and he would sell it. So I grew up in between Blawayo and Kadoma, basically Kadoma being my hometown.
Okay.
Most of my primary education, I did it in both Kadoma and Blawayo. And finished off my secondary at Bulawayo again at King George VI Memorial School. And basically what happened to me, my father had relocated back to Kadoma when I was in, roughly it was around 2008. I was then electrocuted coming back from school in 2011. I was barely 13 years old. Things took it was just something that it was unforeseen. I wasn't expecting it to happen. I was just coming back from school and then decided to take a very short path to home, because the distance that I was walking from home to school, it was a very long distance. So there was this short path. I didn't usually take it, but I just decided so that I get home early because it was now getting dark. So I took that short path, not knowing that there was these lines that were going across. So I tripped and fell on top of the lines. I tripped me and then I fell on top of the lines. So that's what exactly transpired. From there, I don't know what actually happened, and then I just woke up in the hospital and found out that my arms were both amputated.
Sure. So one would think that as a 13-year-old, a young boy, you were adventurous and maybe you were trying to help the situation some way, and maybe that's what happened. So you just tripped.
I just tripped.
Wow.
Why would I? I was someone who was very much knowledgeable in terms of the dangers of electricity. I was someone who was very keen in education from my young age, and I knew all the dangers. It wasn't something that I would plan to do that.
Okay. All right. So you woke up in hospital. Both arms are gone. And of course, you're at a young age. You're confused, you're hurt. What was that reaction like for those that want to know the pain itself, everything that was going on around you? What was going through your mind?
I felt my dreams were shattered. Everything was now, I felt like everything is now lost. I felt like this is the end of life, and then I started to imagining myself in the streets begging for a living. I asked myself then, how will I go to school? How will I write? How will I do this? I'll be asking people to help me and stuff. So some negative comments coming from people saying, he's now disabled, he cannot do anything, blah, 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 etc., etc. So that actually got into my mind at that age, and then it actually affected me to an extent that I told myself, why should I go to school?
Oh. And what was your parents' reaction? You are telling yourself, what's the use of going to school? But what about your parents and the loved ones around you?
My parents and my young brother, they were devastated. They were hurt. They thought that it's now the end of their son. But unfortunately enough, we are Christians, and we believe that if anything that happens to you, it happens because it's the will of God. So when God decides that this situation must befall on you, it means that you yourself, you can handle that particular situation. So me being a Christian, I then had to accept that this is the will of God.
This is the will of God.
This is the will of God. And God putting me in this position knows what He has done it for.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the purpose. He knows what I am supposed to do in the future. So I believe what happened to me, it's the will of God.
The will of God. And there you have it, Elisha's story unraveling before us. A young, energetic, and a very eager man who was ready for life with both hands in front of him. But now it is his determination that has taken it to him. 2 arms, he wakes up in the hospital and they are gone. And he thinks that life is over. We'll find out about his challenges and what he's had to go through. For now, we'll take a break. Hello and welcome back to Against All Odds, a program where we continue to talk about the heroes that are unsung, people that have gone through the most, and yet here they stand to show us that you too can go against all odds. So I'm here with Elisha, and Elisha is telling us his story about what happened to him. Elisha, you wake up, you're in the hospital, and you're thinking that your life is over. What happened in the hospital? Your family is in shock, you are in shock. But at the same time, this new life has to start. Can you just tell us from the hospital, what did the nurses say, the doctors say, and the journey out of the hospital going forward?
When I was in the hospital, the pain of burns, it's not measurable. Even if I start to think about it, I think I can start crying because it was so terrible. It was so painful. I couldn't bear the pain. But what kept me going is the love that I got from my family, my extended family, the church, and a lot of people, including the nurses, the doctors, everyone. They gave me support and told me that as long as you're still alive, there's still hope.
There's still hope. What church do you go to?
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist.
You're Seventh-day?
I'm a Seventh-day
So
Adventist.
one knows that first degree, second degree burns are there. What degree burns did you have? And as they clean them and they do this, what was that process? I know you're saying you could cry, but for somebody who's listening, somebody who's also had a similar accident and feeling like their life is over, how did you get over that part? Kuti munhu anyatsonzwa kuti aiwa neniwo ndozvikwanisa izvi nyatsotitsanangura kuti chii chaiitika kuzoona wazobuda muhospital.
Kuzvikwanisa no one can. It needs you to be brave, to be strong, to be mentally fit for you to be able to sustain the excruciating pain. The level of pain, if I'm to put it, when you're getting cleaned, the burns, if I'm to put it at a scale of 10, I'll put it at 9.888. It was something else. It was horrible. To say someone out there to say that you can be able to withstand that pain, I would lie to you. I would lie to you. When I was in the hospital, I was in the burns unit. Some people even gave up.
Thinking that it was over.
Thinking that it was over because of the pain that they were going through. So saying that you can handle the pain, I would lie to Zimbabweans. I would lie. It's beyond measure.
Okay.
It's beyond measure. But what kept me going was I need need to leave. I need to fight this through so that one day God shows me the purpose that He kept me alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I know God kept my life for a reason. And maybe, more probably, I'm here talking to Zimbabweans, talking to the world, and giving them strength that if, despite facing situations, despite you are going through trials and tribulations, one day you can wake up and say, God is amazing, God is good.
God is amazing, God is good. We leave the hospital. What was it like integrating back into society? Of course, you've got the nurses, you've got your family. You are now going back to your friends. You are now going back to your neighbors. What was that like?
With the situation with our culture, whereby people, when they see people with disability, they think maybe it's because you are KS, or maybe because you are naughty, you've gone through this because you are naughty, etc., etc. A lot of discrimination, stigmatization, and what can I say? Verbal abuse, mental abuse, all that. People saying quite a lot because of the scars. You look unique whenever you walk. People look at you at a very different perspective, and you look like you are not a human being. Quite a lot of things. Some people would say to their children, don't associate with him. If you associate with him, you're going to get the bad luck, the bad omen that he has, and all that. I lost a number of friends.
Okay.
I quite lost a lot when I was growing up.
Okay.
I couldn't integrate too much in the society because I was afraid what people are going to say to me. Some would say mean stuff, and by that time I wasn't mentally fit to accept the criticism, to accept the insults. I wasn't that mentally strong enough to accept that. So it was very difficult for me to then socialize, to then integrate, even to go back to school. I couldn't, because I was telling myself that now I'm disabled, I'm useless. But one thing then just happened. When I was at school, I would always take the first position.
Wow.
I would always take the first position, most of the times.
Now I'm going to stop you and ask, because of course you are saying you'd always take first position. But Ishmael, we are without our hands. How have you done it? How have you gone into society, gone to school, taken first position? Who were you? Were you using your mouth to speak? How were you exercising? Writing your exams and all that.
So, this is what happened. I got electrocuted when I was in grade 7. It was in February, 14th of February, on Valentine's Day. Just imagine, Valentine's Day. And I went to hospital from February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. And then it was time for me to write grade 7 exams. And then I had to make a decision. It's either I write this year or I write next year. But I'm blank. But I'm blank. I don't know anything. Well, the knowledge that I have, it's grade 6 knowledge, grade 1 to grade 6 knowledge. Grade 7, I only went to class only for 2 weeks. So I didn't know anything, but I told myself that I've already registered for grade 7. Let me write and see what comes out. If it's the will of God, I will pass definitely. So we had to speak with the Minister of Education. The government was very supportive, and I had to write my exams, telling someone to write for me. This is the question, write this, write that, write that. So that's how basically I wrote my grade 7. Fortunately enough, the people that I called my friends that were in class from January to December to October, I was better than them in terms of units.
And these are the same.
I had good. I don't want to lie. I had good grades.
Okay.
I had good. It's units, right? Yes.
Units. You had good units. Yes.
I had good units. I guess 10, 11. By that time,
considering even the
yes. By that time, we were writing about 4 subjects.
4 subjects. Yes.
So I had 11. Yeah, I guess 10, 11.
And by the masses, that's a pass.
Yes.
By any standard.
By that time, it was a pass, considering the fact that I had only had knowledge from grade 1 to grade 6. So most of the stuff I didn't do, but I just told myself, I'm going to write. I'm going to write. In that short period of time, I had to memorize. I had to learn a few things that I didn't know, just for the sake of me being prepared to write my exam. I wrote my exam. After writing my exam, then I sat down again. Where can I go? Secondary, it has too much pressure. I need to be able to write for myself. I cannot continue telling someone, please write for me this, please write for me that. My parents couldn't afford to pay for someone to do that for me. My parents could afford an assistant to do that for me. So, fortunately enough, I got called by King George VI, a school for people with disabilities in Bulawayo, to come to school. Then I went to school. When I got there, it was a different environment. A very different environment. The first thing that I was taught is to be mentally fit, to accept any sort of criticism. Because people, when you go there, people with disabilities, they tease each other, they joke around with disability. So it became
a muscle.
Yes, it was a muscle. So you, at the end of the day, at first when someone insults me because of my disability, another person with disability insulting me about my own disability. You get the point. So at some point in time, it was very painful. I couldn't accept. Why are you saying this? Sometimes I would cry. Sometimes I would insult back. But as time goes on, I had to accept, guys, this is how I am now. I cannot change it. That's a fact. I don't have hands. That's it.
There we go. Elisha going from a painful change in his life, but determination raised, and there he is saying, you know what, this is life. And this is what we talk about on Against All Odds. We'll be back right after the break. Welcome back to Against All Odds. My name is Kim Sabanda, and of course I am joined by a man with a story that is worth listening to. He had a change in his life at just 13 years old, where he got electrocuted and lost both his hands, but didn't lose his determination. Elisha, I like the fact that you've told us that you then went to a school where you were amongst others with a disability, living with a disability, and you were making fun of each other until you were like, you know what, this is my life. Let me take charge of it. What happened after?
At King George, they teach you self-reliance. They teach you independent living. So I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to type. So basically, I started doing things on my own, quite a lot. I started doing things on my own. I started writing. I wrote Form 4. I was the highest at King George. After King George, I went to secondary school. I went to A-level at Kanamishan. I wrote my A-level. I passed my O-level, and then I went to apply to the University of Zimbabwe. I applied for law. I got law. After that, not knowing who's going to pay my fees, the government came through.
Okay.
Through the Vice Chancellor Scholarship at the University of Zimbabwe. The Vice Chancellor paid for my fees from Part 1 to Part 4, including my accommodation. It was they were very supportive. I don't want to lie. University of Zimbabwe, it's a place where all people with disabilities can realize their dream.
Okay.
I would love to thank the University of Zimbabwe, the Vice Chancellor Paul Mapfumo, and the registrar, Mr. Madambi, they played a pivotal role. In fact, they continue playing a pivotal role in assisting people with disabilities at the University of Zimbabwe. With regards to disability rights, use it. It's number one.
It's number one.
It's number one. So I did my law at University of Zimbabwe, and then I graduated last year with a 2-1 upper second class degree, and I got registered recently in August. I got registered as a legal practitioner. So far, yeah, that's it for me. And now I'm doing. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I'm into construction. I'm into timber. I'm into farming. I'm into consultants, and also I'm also working with. What can I say? A father figure, a leader, Mr. Jimaya Mduri in Kadoma, is a person with disability who is leading in all aspects of life. He's leading in business, he's leading in, he's a politician, he's a businessman, and he's the one who has quite taught me a lot. He has built hospitals all over Zimbabwe, and he's got clinics all over Zimbabwe, he's got businesses all over Zimbabwe, he's got a Pan-African referral hospital in Kadoma. So I'm quite closely working with him. He's a person with disability who is again being someone who's been part and parcel of my journey as a person with disabilities, because he told me that you are now in the situation, you need to accept. So he's one of the people that stood up with me, and some of the people that I look at, because he's a person with disabilities who is thrived, we succeeded against all odds. So I have people that I look up to.
Wow.
And he's one of the people that I look up to. And I would like to thank the government through the opportunity that they give to people with disabilities who want to enter into business and entrepreneurship. So my journey has been a good journey because I had good support from Mr. Mdur, I had the good support from the government, and still today I still get good support.
I want to take you back a little. I like the way that you've now got a support system that knows and understands your plight. And you spoke about your father being into timber, and now you're in timber yourself. Is he still a part, or are you still working with your father in your endeavors? And also you spoke about having an assistant. And I want to know, yes, you are registered and you are moving. So are you still working with an assistant? How do you go about your daily life and, achieve the things that you are achieving right now?
I want to tell you something. I have the strongest support system, the person who has been there for me from day one, my little brother.
Oh, wow.
He's a unique breed. He's someone who has been supportive. He's someone who has encouraged me, and wherever I am, he's always there. He is my biggest support system.
Oh, wow.
So he has been there for me through thick and thin. He's the one that I'm working with what I'm doing, the entrepreneur side, the business side. I'm doing all of it with him. And my father is now old, and then I told my dad that thank you so much for what you have done for us. Now you need to retire, sit and relax, and then we take care of you.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
now
beautiful.
Me and my little brother, we are the one who are doing everything. We are into timber, we are into construction, and also we are into farming. So that's what we are doing. So my little brother is the one who assists me throughout whatever I need.
Wow. And if somebody wants to, I feel like this is a story that somebody wants, encouragement, because, wow, I am inspired. If somebody wants to reach out to you and just say, Elisha, how are you doing? And Elisha, please help me find what you are finding. How can they get a hold of you?
They can get hold of me. I can give you my number, 0783 986 775. So if you want to talk, assist, support, that's where you can reach me.
I know another place we can reach you where I found your very interesting conversations, and that is on social media. How do you take the feedback you get on social media? Now, it is known for being very toxic and opinionated. how do you get there?
So
how do you go through it?
So the reason that I only have one. It's X. The reason why I got into that was I wanted to understand why most of people with disabilities, they don't socialize, they don't integrate, they don't partake in social media. Some people are making money with social media, but you rarely find a person with disability on those platforms. They don't go on those platforms because those platforms are. It was sort of like a research that I was doing because I want to write. I'm in the process of writing an article of how people with disabilities can, what people with disabilities are facing on social media. So I had to come and realize that people with disabilities are subject to dark humor, are subject to insult, are subject to verbal and mental abuse. So you'd find most of them, they don't participate in that, and then they go back to the trenches. They then become shy. They no longer socialize because the world itself, it's not accepting people with disabilities. When they see people with disabilities, they try by all means to ridicule them. They try by all means to insult them, to create dark humor. So at the end of the day, their mental state is then affected. So that environment is toxic for people with disabilities. So that's what I've discovered. That's what I'm writing and giving advice to people with disabilities to do that. If you are strong mentally, if you want to make money through social media, you can then, if you want to, you can then participate in that. But it's not an environment that is safe for people with disabilities.
For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. When Elisha Gumbo got electrocuted, he didn't know the plans. He didn't know what God had in store, but he did have the hope that something was out there for him. At 28 years old, he is a qualified lawyer from the University of Zimbabwe, and he stands before us an entrepreneur and a man with so much confidence it exudes from him. Hopefully, this has taught you that your situation is no different and you can rise from the ashes. The stories we speak about here on Against All Odds are true. They are inspiring, and they are our everyday living. Hopefully, you will find us once again right here on Against All Odds next time. My name is Kim Sibanda. Until next time, it's bye-bye.